All right, we're back with another episode, and we have a super special guest by obviously popular demand and request. Julie's been on the show once before, and she is back again. Can everyone say hi to Julie? Hi, Julie.
Hi, it's so good
How
to
are you,
be back.
how are you doing?
I am good. I've seen better days, I've seen worse days, and I'm just here to show up, you know?
Perfect. Perfect. So today's theme is I'll give actually a little bit of background of Julie. Me and Julie go way back to F45, which would be I probably met you like 6-ish years ago, 2020 or
Mm-hmm.
2021. One of those years.
2020.
2020? Okay. So we've known each other for a good chunk of time. Julie's been uh, in Texas for over a year, and Julie was on the show about a year and a half ago. I remember what we made more than I think we talked about yoga, but I just remember so much more the lamb dish because it was so good, if that makes
It
sense.
was really good. Yes,
Yeah,
that was a lot of
yeah.
fun.
Yeah, and so Julie's a big foodie, and I've done a little bit of training for Julie when Julie was um, going away a little bit from F45 style. She wanted to focus on strength and complementing her marathon run. So I did some training with her when she was still local. And Julie really, really likes in-person training. She likes strength training. She likes classes. She's not the biggest fan of online training, which is fair. However, obviously, me and Julie had some good catch ups the last couple weeks. And I said, hey, listen, I got this podcast. Obviously, you're aware of it. And I've been doing a series with the producer, Kelsey, on her coaching journey. Funny enough, we did one last night. It's not up yet, but I think that's like number 4 and number 5. And I was like to Julie, and for those who don't know, Julie's background is in marketing. I was like, uh, I'm trying to think of a concierge service, and if I was Kelsey's a little bit more coaching style. If I was to treat you a little bit more like the concierge side of things, you get at least some coaching accountability. We don't need to make it super, super regular week to week because she's a busy gal who just got a new job. But it would be nice to catch up, have you in on the show, and just treat it as such. And Julie's like, oh, yeah, 100%. I am so down. So here we are.
Here we are.
Any anything to
Yeah, my
add?
life looks, I'd say my life looks a lot different since the last time I was on here. Um, and my training looks a lot different. Everything is just so different because I guess from the time that I met you, Nick, in 2020, that was when I kind of, that's like probably the first time in my life I had built out a regular workout routine that I was really sticking to. And that was because it was my first time paying that much for a gym. And I was like, I am sticking to this. And, I am like really so thankful for F45 because I don't know that like even now I'm really struggling without like a structured workout class program. And I'd say, from 2020 until beginning of 2025, I was really able to kind of maintain like that discipline, that great morning workout habit. And I really liked that. But that all seemed to disappear with grad school, with being in a new city. Um, so, yeah, suddenly this like idea of my own discipline when it came to working out, I suddenly didn't have anymore, and I'm trying to like rebuild it right now. So that's where you're catching me.
Yeah, and that's fair. I think one of the biggest feedbacks I got, and I was literally in the sauna, and the guy comes up, "Oh, I love your show." I'm like, "Oh, okay, cool, thank you." And he's like, "I really like it when you have somebody on and you go through the coaching side of things. It's super relatable." And I don't think you're alone in the fact that a lot of people have a hard time with discipline and they have on, off, and a lot of people have had a hard time sticking with things. What about F45? Obviously I can be nitpicky with it, you know me, but I would 1,000% agree that it's done really good when you just look at the big picture for so many people. What was it about it that really, really helped you? Other than the fact that it was 200 some odd dollars a month, and you're like, fuck, I may as well use up my membership.
Yeah, I think. I think a big part of it is that the class starts at a time every day, and whether it's at 40, like I guess some studios are a bit more lax with the start times than others, but generally, they all start within a certain time, and just like, as a gift to yourself, you should show up early and be prepared and all that. So I think there was like, I need to show up at this time every day, or else I don't get a workout in. And I know that if I show up, I will get a reasonable workout in because these workouts have been, vetted by F45 HQ. Um, and I think just the community portion of it, obviously, you and I are good friends now. Um, I generally had made good friends with the coaches and other members there. So I think that all was, as someone who's worked from home pretty much my entire career, and the job that I'm going to go into, I'm also working from home. Like it's a godsend, I think, to like have a space like that and like start my day with that. Um, so yeah, I actually had been going to F45 during grad school because they had like a UT Austin like F45 studio, and it was really cute. Like all the branding was the F45 branding, but it was in like UT colors. And I thought like, okay, these coaches are gonna they're just students, like they're whatever. But um, obviously, like UT is a D1 school, and I feel like if you're just even remotely considered athletic and associated with the school, like you're kind of a top-notch person. So the coaches were really great, and I tried my best. I definitely was getting in for 2 or 3 workouts a week, but not all the time, and certainly not at the same intensity that I used to. Definitely was taking a lot more like modifications. And what's funny is like now I'm living out in the suburbs of Austin, and I'm not going to stay here. But because I'm going to start work, I was like, oh, maybe I'll like look for an F45 studio here now that I have an income. And they're all closed. Like, I guess there was one that was like really close and it closed. It shut down, it's permanently shut down. And then I was like, okay, what about like when I move into like my new apartment, like in downtown? And like there was also one that was really close that has permanently shut down. So I don't know what's going on. I don't know if I'm gonna have to like convert to Orange Theory. I don't really know. Actually, that's a really good thing to talk to you about. I've been thinking about it because there's a really nice apartment gym, but like I don't feel like everything I said that I liked about F45, I don't feel like any of that can be applied to an apartment gym. You know what I mean?
Yes, so the community side of things, that's to you, I think that's one of the bigger aspects of fitness. And for so many people, it's more important that they stay consistent and have the community social aspect rather than worrying about optimizing strength and muscle. By no means does it not, like, you're still going to get some muscle, some strength, some cardio, some mobility. Movement is movement. Totally on board with that. Sure, I can make an argument that um, if you're at an apartment gym, you can customize it for yourself a little bit more. I know working at home, and I know you're a pretty big social butterfly for the most part. You love to connect with people, and I think that's more important for your overall health and well-being. And ironically, that's what would keep you going. There's more to the world of group fitness classes than just Orange Theory and F45. Obviously, CrossFit has that style. I would say, generally speaking, CrossFit's a bit more intensive. I would still make the argument that F45 would be better than Orange Theory, although I know you like the running that would be associated with the Orange Theory. I like to separate the running and the weightlifting a little bit. I don't know what your thoughts are on that. You can chime in after. I like strength to be strength. I like cardio to be cardio. That's my take of things. If you have friends in the apartment, you can at least do workouts together. So that would be one option, or bringing in a friend to that area. And then maybe doing some self scouting and seeing what other workouts are in the region, whether like yoga is a big one for you, of course, and that's a good group setting. What obviously run clubs would be another option with that as well. And if you were like, you know what, I'm just going to do a home gym workout once a week, and you can dedicate just a good solid strength base to that, you can get away with tons of running and tons of yoga and still at least have strength. That's the good news with strength, is like one really good strength training covers most of your bases. Two really good strength trainings is like perfect. So if you're able to at least do some of that on your own, yeah, what are your thoughts on those?
Yeah, I think I know Orange Theory, they actually do strength only classes now. I
Okay,
don't
that's
know
good.
how common they are, but I'm probably gonna do like a free week trial here in the suburbs, like before I kind of just to see what it's like. Um, it should be interesting, I think, the community aspect, just because like there's not a ton of sort of unmarried, no kids, young, like late 20s people out here, but it is what it is. Um, and I'll say like I'm not opposed to CrossFit. I just it seems a bit intimidating right now. And I think maybe what I find just really fascinating is that there has, like, I just feel like there was a time where, like, there was an Orange Theory and a Berries and an F45. Like, I guess I don't know if there's Berries in Toronto, but like, there just used to be so much of those, and now there's just like not. And what's really hot in Austin, and I think in a lot of places, is like Pilates and like
Mm,
core power, like reformer Pilates, like just various forms of Pilates. Like sometimes they have different names, like Legree, but that's like it's still Pilates. And these are also studios that like have yoga classes, but the yoga classes are still like workout classes, which is actually a bit of against how I was taught to teach yoga. So I think I don't want to say I'm cooked, but I have to keep an open mind. I've been running at least 4 days a week now because I don't have a job right now. So it's free exercise. It gets me out of the house. It helps me kind of feel like a bit more connected with community. Like that's really nice. And I definitely want to continue that once I move. And I see myself doing like two or three like really like good intensive strength workouts a week, but I just don't like in the apartment gym. And you can kind of, I have these little pink dumbbells here. So I've been doing like at home Pilates every now and then, but again, it's just like that self-motivation muscle is really hard. I think with the apartment gym though, like I'm looking forward to like lifting heavy. My like posterior chain has always been a really big focus for me. So I just like want to make sure I get a really good like posterior chain day in. And I suppose it's not impossible to get to an F45 studio once I move. It's just I will have to like the only one downtown is like in a Hilton hotel now, and I just know it's going to be like $500 a week kind of vibe.
yeah. Yeah, there obviously class packs are options. I'm a big fan actually of class pack or when they have promotions where you can let's say buy 2 month get 1 month free. I'm a big believer of that because I don't think doing F45 5 years in a row and never introducing any other kinds of movements, I think that starts to have diminishing returns. And I do think there is a lot of value in Pilates and yoga. I think those complement any strength routine. I think they complement any fitness routine. I think running can complement most routines. I'm talking generally speaking. Obviously, if you're trying to become like the best bodybuilder or powerlifter in the world, you kind of have to stick in your lane a little bit. But for 99% of people, they want general health. I think picking something that's more strength and then something that's a little bit more cardio and then something that's recovery. And you can literally cycle 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. You can change the ratios. You can change the focus. When Julie said posterior chain, she really meant glutes, and I was about to say glute, like glute and Julie, but I knew that that's what you meant when you're like posterior chain, posterior chain. When I was Julie's trainer, she's like, I have to have my hip thrusts. I have to have my hip thrusts. We have to build the
Yeah.
shelf. So and
I need
so I
to
totally yeah. What is it?
I need to interject. It's been really hard for me to do hip thrusts in any gym besides Lil's in Kitchener, which is like I just I don't know. Maybe we can talk about this on this episode or a different episode, but I just can never set up the bench in such a way that it doesn't move. Like it has to be resting up against something. So at Lil's, what it looked like was hoping that no one was using the bench, the two benches that I had that had the perfect proportions for me to rest it on a rat. And when I moved here, I was like, they're like people are just like thrusting with like the bench just like out. And I don't know if I'm like emphasizing too much on like my back, like pressing up against it too much. I don't know. That's my long way of saying like I haven't done real heavy thrusts in so long. I hate heavy squats, but like I'll do them. It's been tough.
Yeah. I would say we can briefly talk about it, but a video would obviously help more. I think there is maybe some truth if you're driving too much of your back into the bench, but I like to have the bench supported. If you turn it 90 degrees and you only use the thin side, you have so much more surface area that it won't push back. What I've also done before is if you put the bench on a slight decline, it just changes the angle a little bit. And then there's one thing at Movati that is really good for hip thrust because it's almost like a trapezoid where it naturally has a little bit of a different angle and it's got such a wide base and so much friction, it's really, really hard to slide. When you do hip thrusts, then at Movati, they have a hip thrust machine. All you do is just seat belt it in. It doesn't move, it doesn't shift. You just pile on the weights, and that's really, really nice because it's easy to set up. There's no movement, and even the bench kind of moves with your back, which is nice. And then I've seen some similar things too with like a hip thrust on a Smith machine where the bar doesn't move, but at least you just focus on the up down motion. So there are some options like that, and I know getting some heavy hip thrusts in are nice. The easy alternative, at least in the time being, I think I mentioned too, at least single leg hip thrusts are so humbling, and it's heavy relative to the glute. That's the good news that I can tell you. So we'll help you out there when the time is right to get you set up in the gym at the apartment. And it'd be interesting to, I've done this before actually with my mom. I did a whole live podcast while she was working out because it's video. And I'm like, hey, focus on this, focus on that while she's doing her knee rehab. And so we can do a whole podcast on hip thrusts with live hip thrusts. So yeah, 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 yeah. Don't worry. We'll keep it PG-13. Um, I think all those are great options. I think one thing I want to bring attention to is you're self-aware of these options and you do have the desire. I know discipline sometimes and that self-discipline can be tricky, but when you really break down how many people aren't aware that they should go to the gym, aren't motivated to even want to go to the gym, you do have those things. It is maybe that discipline muscle and it is trainable. You've been disciplined with probably many other things in life before. The gym is really tricky for some people, and that's why if the cost is a few extra $100, I would still make the argument that it can be worth it. You'd be surprised. I have some clients, they spend close to $500 a month on me, and I'm just the trainer online twice a week, an hour, and an hour each session twice a week comes out to be like $500 that they spend on me. And for them, they're like, yeah, I am not doing this on my own. They're 60 something. They've been working with me for like 7 years. And they're like, this is the best money I've ever spent. And they have obviously millions, like they're well off, but like to them, it's one of the best investments. Obviously you don't have a nice $500 to spend monthly, but even if you do have to spend a little bit just for the short time being, I do believe it would be worth it. And I look at it this way too, and this is maybe a discipline thing. If you just go to the gym without a trainer, without a coach, and you at least get your workout in, I would gaslight myself into saying, "Oh, it's girl math. I've just saved $80 because that's what it would cost to work with a trainer for 1 hour, $100." And so if you think about girl math in that sense, like, "Ooh, I just did my workout all by myself. I've just saved $100." That's the cost of a workout with a good trainer. And so I don't know if that ever rings a bell or not with some people, but that's the way I would say it. And if you can say it enough and you believe it enough, you've gaslit yourself like, hey, every time I go to the gym, I save $100. It's a great way to help people get to the gym. So
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely not afraid of spending money. I just think I think life here is a little bit more expensive than it was in Kitchener. So I'm just like mindful of that. Like
yeah,
obviously like group fitness in Kitchener, um I'd say if there's a barrier to entry to anyone because of finances, like then that's the entry, like that's the barrier, and I don't want to like dismiss that. But it's never been something for me that I'm like, whoa, I don't want to spend that money. I just feel like here it really is just actually that much more expensive. And I am doing my 300-hour yoga teacher training. So I guess if you guys don't know this, I did my 200-hour in 2023, and I was teaching yoga at Midtown Yoga and at Big Bliss in Kitchener, which also meant I got free memberships there, which was really great. And because of my work authorization in the US, like I'm not really allowed to do any work that's outside of my field of study, which was marketing. So that is not an option for me here. And with doing my 300 hour, I need to be like just doing like way more yoga than I am now, which is like I'm doing it at most once a week right now, which is pretty unfortunate because there's so many free resources. But um, yeah, I guess I'm just like, I just have so many wants. They all felt so like
Hmm.
attainable and affordable, like back home. And I just spent a year like not working. So I'm just thinking about everything. I definitely feel like I'm someone who's like starting from scratch in terms of like trying to do like all these like different challenges or these like 5 minute like arm workout days and stuff. I'm like, God, there was just a time where I was just like ripping like 8, 10 mile runs and then I would like go to F45 the next day or something and wake up at 5:30 for both of those activities. And now I'm like I got out of bed at like 9 today. I don't think that's even normal for me, and I guess now that I do have the job offer, I'm like letting myself enjoy being unemployed a bit more. But like, bro, I can't wait. Like, I just can't wait to like just have my own money to like spend and like um a bit more structure with my days, I guess. So
Yeah,
I don't know how
yeah, I
relatable
agree.
that is for people, honestly.
We'll see. We'll see. Maybe it's at least at worst case scenario entertaining, and I think everyone can relate to some aspects of it. I think that this is also where I I would give you a challenge of like how many free trials can you find, and just basically it's like just go on lots of dates with many different gyms and see what ones you like. Try new ones, whether it's a boxing, hit cardio, whether it's just a yoga, Pilates. There's so many free or very very low cost trials, and that can probably at least tie you over for the next little bit. And then it's almost, I almost call it like scouting, like scout the
But
area, gather information.
wouldn't you argue that doing too many different things for a short amount of time is like not productive? Because I think that's like the challenge that I have. Like I just kind of want something that I can be consistent with.
You could make that argument. You could also make that argument for at least the moment now if you're trying to not spend the money. There's a lot of free trials, and you can still focus on something for, let's just say it's a week. And then you try the next, you try the next, you try three or four. That takes you to the end of the time. And then you decide which one you want to do, and you just commit to that. And I still think, knowing you, it's you're never just gonna only do a Barry's boot camp or only something else. I know you'll probably still want to add in your running, cardio, and like you just said, your yoga. So as long as you're doing something, I would say you're in the right direction. I don't know if that's ever the best answer that people want to hear, because sometimes people want to hear oh, you need to do this, you need to do that. I would say trying some newer things, putting yourself out there is totally worth it right now, and then just see where the cards lie, and that would be perfectly fine. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. Um, yeah, I guess I'll see what I can do. I'll maybe check out Orange Theory. That's like walking, it's like one of the few things that's walking distance from me right now. I guess that's the other challenge I'm facing is I don't have a car here. And like I said, I'm out in the suburbs. Another reason why I'm running lots.
Yeah. Well,
So,
you try Orange Theory. Let me know how that goes. I did one of their classes before. I wasn't a fan. My background was running and rowing, and I didn't need the coaching. I got zero coaching with it, and I saw zero coaching from the coach. And I'm just like, the reason I did it is because I was getting interviewed for a job there at the same time with F45. And when I talked to the owner, I'm like, yeah. They're like, oh, do you have any feedback? I'm like, yeah. There wasn't really much coaching. It was just a go faster. It was a cheerleader styled sort of thing. So and I don't think they appreciated the honesty. There's the concept of harsh truth and kind lies, and I was probably more towards the harsh truth rather than the kind lie. Oh my god, it was absolutely amazing. I want to be so like, and I don't think they appreciated that feedback. I didn't say it in a mean way, but I have no problem saying the truth even if it sounds a bit harsh. So, you know what I do wish too, which I don't think that they would have there, is the BFT, that you could try BFT and see if you like it. I actually really like the one workout I did there. And if you're coming to Canada anytime and I'm happen to be in Toronto, we can make a day of it. You can come check out the studio and have a little workout and stuff.
Yeah, that'd be cute. There is actually a few BFTs in Austin, so maybe I'll look into it. Maybe it'll start blowing up. But like, bro, I actually hate Pilates. Every yoga studio I teach at has Pilates, so I'm like, okay, like I'll do Pilates. Maybe I like it this time. And I just like don't. And it's just so hot right now, like on TikTok. So that's why I have these like I think they go up to 6 pounds each. And they're like, I've been doing, I wish I could show you, but like, there's this like woman on TikTok named Gabby George, and she has this Gabby George bridal arm series, and like people are doing it just to get like jacked arms. And I know what you're gonna say, okay? I know that you're gonna say that you cannot spot treat fat loss. Um, and you're right. But like you also get toned arms by training arms. So like yeah, she like obviously teaches like a Pilates style class, so she'll be like, okay, like do like tricep kickbacks or doing like little kickbacks, whatever. And then like she'll be like, okay, now pulse it. And then it's like, okay, I'm gonna pulse. And then you like do it with like a row. And like I'm just it's just like it is really humbling, but like there's just something about that style of workout I cannot get into right now or ever. I feel like I've tried it so much. But like I feel like the girls who do Pilates look great. Like they're so like lean.
Yeah, sometimes there's a bias towards it or like a culture behind it, and um, this isn't to pick on anyone or anything, but the body that a Pilates instructor probably gets isn't solely because of Pilates. Most likely, they've at least had some kind of gymnastics background and or heavy strength training. There's one trainer at F45. She literally does modeling. It was at Dune F45, and she used to be like this high level gymnast, and then she worked at Good Life for a long time too. So it's like her insane just body from a muscular and athletic standpoint. Most of the foundation was built even a decade before she did F45 coaching. The F45, again, she's got like great genetics on top of that, works hard, eats good. It maintains all of that. But if I was to take, let's say, someone who has zero building blocks and gave them Pilates, they might not build. But if I had someone who already had good building blocks, it could be a good maintenance one or complementary to what they're doing. So that's the way I look at it. And who am I to say what someone should or shan't do? I I'm happy people are doing stuff. So let's call it there, and we will continue our concierge. I don't even know if I'm going to call it the concierge series, but just life chats and whether Julie takes my advice or not on certain things. But we can just talk about these problems that, not that you have tons of problems, but just your fitness stuff, your fitness goals, your fitness journeys, and we'll see what happens in the next little bit if you end up at certain gyms. And I'm sure the audience likes to keep up with these sort of things. And worst case scenario, the audience is like my mom, and she'll be like, "Oh my God, Julie was amazing," and stuff like that. So we'll give a shout out to my mom, and Kelsey will also end up listening to this too. So shout out to producer Kelsey and my mom. So it's more than just that, but those are like they listen to all of them. So all right,
Amazing.
bye.
Bye.